guys talking? I see the screen moving, but I don't hear anyone.
There you go. There you go.
Sean, can you hear us?
Okay, great. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna come over there. We had our first career day, which was such a hit. We had.
I see the screen moving, but I don't hear anyone.
Oh, she can see the screen.
There you go.
Can you hear us?
Okay, great. Yep.
I think it's mine. Let me see if that.
Sean, can you hear me now? Yeah, we had.
I see the screen moving, but I don't hear anyone.
We can hear her.
There you
Can
go.
you hear us now?
She can hear you.
Okay, great. Yep.
Okay, go ahead, Rachel.
But it's the YouTube.
So we had our first career day. We had about 50
I see the screen moving, but I don't hear anyone.
set up the dance room like expo style. The kids got to walk around. So the adults had like different artifacts, different things on the tables for the kids to play with. And they were like super excited. The fire trucks came, the police officers came for like more practical jobs. But it was a huge success. The Wiz, some of you guys were at the Wiz. Thank you all so much.
You guys, it was amazing.
Our kids worked so hard. It was so good, guys, and they were so cute. I was sitting on the front row, but off to the side, and I noticed that the whole time the kids were like staring at me. You know, just like so. Then the teachers were like, "Crouch, move to the middle," because the kids keep staring off to the side. I'm like, they're looking to see because it was like all the teachers off to the side. We're just clapping, clapping, clapping. They were staring at us the whole time. But it was just so cute to see that even though like all of their parents were in the audience, they were literally staring at the PSP section, like waiting for us to clap, waiting for us to say something. But it was like so good. Valedictorian today, Miss Robinson, our sixth grade math teacher, her daughter actually will win the award today at graduation for valedictorian. Pre-K step up already happened. That was last week. So all the families came in, they're going from pre-K to kindergarten, which is a huge deal for families. So it was like packed in here. There was a graduation in every single classroom. So parents were able to see their kids and then kind of like leave instead of seeing like all 4 graduations at the same time. We did an attendance campaign towards the end of the school year. Oh, the end of the school year, the attendance starts to go low. So for the last couple of months, we've been doing attendance campaigns and giving classes, teachers, rewards for who has the highest attendance. It's competition on the board out there. Our first track meet was this weekend. The kids are super excited. We have track gear and everything. So they were really excited about that. And then 8th grade wrap up. They've been doing things all week. We did a day of service. They went to Six Flags. They helped out with field day. So they are ready to graduate today. We are super sad because for us who have been here for a while, these are pre-K students who are now graduating 8th grade. So we get to see them from beginning to end. And the kids who have been here that long are getting lifer awards. Basically saying like you get there from pre-K to 8th grade. Exactly. Pretty much it for
Rachel, what's the one that says Kate?
Oh, Kate is done. Our standardized testing. So we took Kate, we finished that about 2 weeks ago. We don't get the results back though until like early August, right, Alexandra?
Late August.
Late August. So we're gonna be waiting for those. Keep your fingers crossed because we are hoping to do better in math this year than we did last year. And pretty much stay steady or grow in ELA. But math is where we're really focused on, hoping that we do a better job than we did last year.
I think 2 things, real quick that came to mind. 8th grade this year, they stepped up and kind of had their own council.
Oh, yeah.
They had bake sales, they put on their own like kind of thing. They did a lot of little things. I thought it was wonderful that they kind of rallied together, and it's just a culture thing. So now I know 7th graders are like, I can't wait to get to 8th grade so we can like, vote on things and all that. And then the career day, I counted them because I went around and they said were coming. They had 3 people to come from like WKYS, government, UDC, Catholic University. It was so big, like a wide range of, from braiding hair to financial advisor. You know what I mean? So I think that is something that we need to like continue.
Absolutely. And even the
and
first
come like us to like show our faces and even to kind of tell them about what we do. Yeah. that was-
Yeah, and the next year we'll invite you guys personally to Career Day, so you all can be a part of it, because K-2 participated as well, so they went around all the different booths, touched everyone, everything on everyone's
They
table.
literally had a piece of paper, they
Mhm.
had to ask questions, they had to talk on their own, they had to write your name down, they, you know, like, they were graded on how they interacted with the folks. At Career. And so I just thought that.
I think that's it for leadership update.
All right, it's me. So as you see, attendance is continuing to be a challenge. We are trying our hardest to get our friends here. But you know, they're coming from all over the city, so it's definitely a struggle for some kids, but our truancy numbers have declined, as you can see, but as chronic absenteeism is still a challenge. So we don't have any current instances of student exclusions, which is great. So all of our students are trying, but we're going to work harder next year to get those numbers up with a lot of initiatives that we have going.
I think 100%.
Yeah.
So we have really been like having meetings about attendance, challenges, really focused on attendance period at Berry Street. And it's some of this challenging because we'll reach out to families like, okay, you've missed a week of school, what is going on? Then they tell you this long story, you're like, they probably this what you
Mhm.
And it's like, so then we're in a situation like, okay, well, how to support the families? We have to have kids to learn regardless of what you're going through. So we've been doing a lot with that. Our social workers have been extremely busy trying to troubleshoot, put out fires, figure out how to get the kids in the building in spite of like their circumstances and what they're going through. Because we literally called every single day and we were having issues with them. I said, okay, we have a lot of things they're dealing with a lot just in white. Where school tends to not be the number one priority that it was for us. So that's a huge struggle that we're dealing with for the school for whole class to get here. Because some parents are like, no, I want them to come to school, I just can't get them here.
Sure.
So we're working on that as well.
And are we seeing any from cultural perspective? I know like there was some fear early on with the administration.
That's died now. Now, it's like, like, we were.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was definitely just, you know, them hearing what was in the news and being nervous, but we didn't have a lot of kids that were afraid to come. It was like a handful, but we reached out to them personally to kind of let them know like nothing is going to happen to you. We're going to protect you at all costs. So and I had conversations with my friends here who are trying to work with me and make sure that things were like legally safe for us. So yeah, it was good. And they're all in school now. I found out about one a little later and I was like, oh no, you're coming to school. So
But maybe for the data with, because I know they have like the check-in
mm-hmm.
party.
Mm-hmm.
Not here, like, in the end, you get the phone call.
Yep, the automate and an email and a text message.
Mhm.
You get notified you weren't in school today. And we have like a form as well for families to fill out that they receive. That'll be like send us your doctor's note if you didn't send it. We sent out a couple of letters quarterly that were like, hey, to date your child has this amount of absences. If you have doctor's notes for exclusions, like click this link here. And they actually did it. So we were able to go back in and retroactively update those numbers so that they were correct.
Four times. That's supposed to be. And shuttle, has that ever been loaded? It's just a weird location.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah.
But we do have the DC one car. And a lot of our folks, I see them in the morning, they're getting off the bus, teachers, students, it's a whole bus of Perry Street students, you know, coming down from Rhode Island Avenue, either walking that way or getting on the bus and get down here to make sure they're on time. So I think they know the route. I just think that, I'm just saying what I know.
No. I mean, we do our research as well. Like when we have our chronically absent students, we call them and figure out what, as Rachel said, but sometimes it's more than the DC1 card, as she said, it's definitely a lot. And but when we get to later slides, I'll be able to explain like another solution that we have to supporting those families.
And what's the, I guess, the closest direct bus here, or the closest stop?
I think it's at the corner of, yes, this corner right here on, what is it, 18th Street? Do I know where that goes? No.
And, also, it's the one from Catholic that, Avenue, that
Mhm.
station right there. There's a bus that comes directly here, and then there's one that comes from Rhode Island Avenue. And the only reason I know is because in the morning when I'm coming, I see you. I'm like, "Actually, you know them?"
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll just
something
see
else
what
to
the
say.
buses were.
And are they direct? Good point.
I think so.
Yeah, close to, yeah.
The bus stop is now at Shannon's house.
Yeah, yeah,
The
I live like 545 Metro, so that's a, it's a.
We've been also encouraging like carpooling, like, hey, I noticed that you guys live like close to each other. Are you guys trying to get together? And some families are down with it and some families are like, no, thank you.
Towards the end of the year, is it also confidence in the same factors, or is it different, like summer seasonal?
I think it's seasonal. I think it's like end of the year burnout. It could be like, we have, weather is warm. We have a number of family situations that are just very difficult to navigate. Like some families have their kids stay home because they have to watch their babies. And it's just like, those are the things that we're trying to kind of mediate and say like, come on, mom, you can't, it's not right. So, but definitely burnout probably. And okay, I've been taking the bus here for an hour every day. I'm last 5 days of school, they're not gonna do anything. So like,
Purple.
Oh, you can kind of jump in?
Yep.
Sorry.
All right, so we're just talking about charter goals because, as some longer term board members know, the school ultimately is responsible for meeting charter goals. And if you have, tuned in to the very exciting charter board meetings, there have been a lot of very contentious, charter reviews this past season. Perry Street, as a reminder, had its charter review not this spring, but the spring before. We have a 5-year charter with no conditions. The majority of schools who went up for review this year have conditions and have very stringent conditions. Similar to what was before the pandemic, that if you don't meet a certain number, you automatically relinquish your charter. A lot of boards have found themselves during the review process saying, I didn't know my school had goals. I had no idea that we were held accountable in this way. And I always say that, like, this board will never say that. I will show you every slide. And so in 23-24, Perry Street met its goals fully, no conditions. Again, for 24-25, there are 3 ways to meet charter goals. The first is to earn a score of a level 1, 2, or 3 on the new charter board accountability tool called Aspire. So it's a school report card from the authorizer. The second is to earn a score of 40 or higher from the Office of the State Superintendent's report card. That report card comes out in December, usually late December. The charter board report card comes out after that, so February. So we will not know these full data points until December or February of next year. And the third is transitional goals, which is meeting or exceeding the state goal outcomes for various metrics. So just as a kind of refresher, 23-24, Perry Street met its goals, no questions, no issues. For 24-25, we are likely going to be somewhere between a range of 1 or 3 on Aspire from all the predictive modeling we can do, but I can't tell you that because we don't have state test score data yet, but MAP data tells us that we should be in that range. Certainly we're going to continue updating you on this, but for, key takeaways, like Perry Street does not have any conditions. There is no letter where Perry Street has to relinquish its charter. But there's been a lot of schools this season who have just been in a very different position and been greatly surprised. And so we are very much committed to continuing this pathway for Perry Street so that Perry Street doesn't find itself in that way.
And can I just add one more thing? So you see, last year in our report card, we scored a 47. 40 was the cutoff. And then the year before that, we scored a 45. So we've been above the 42 years in a row. We're trying to get even further above that because of our math data. If our math data improves, that 47 goes up drastically. So our hope this school year is that our math data improves and that 47 actually shows, because that's what we're hoping. That will be in the 50s next for our cohort. We just like that part. But the goal is that we just keep improving every single school year to get to our goal.
Any questions about that? It is something we keep a very close eye on because this is the high stakes of charter schools. And a number of schools have found themselves in a really precarious position. And so it has happened as schools received conditions in April and May of this year for this school year. And so there are a lot of schools that Hope down the street actually have to relinquish its charter. iDream had to relinquish its charter, and so we're kind of back to a very high stakes accountability post-COVID.
When that happens, how do we strategize around accepting, I'm gonna use the R word, recruiting, like from an.
Oh,
enrollment perspective?
so we either hear it through the grapevine or Alexandra shares the information and connects us with the leaders or connects us with the contacts. The last two schools that have unfortunately had to do this have had recruitment fairs. So we were able to go and set up and put all our Perry Street stuff out and put the rock candy out. They come to the table for that. So we're able to kind of have conversations with families and be
Okay.
able to recruit in that manner
Excellent, thank you.
and put signs outside of their.
Always.
Way, like funding per child, like if we get higher at a 60, now we get more.
Unfortunately not.
It might have to find.
That'd be nice.
Also ask for stealing teachers.
Yeah, no,
We are accepting.
we are recruiting and or,
Right. We actually are in contact with those principals, so we don't even have to have big conversations. I'll just text the principal name and they'll say yes. And then we'll just keep moving. So
Okay,
we
excellent.
have our hand on the adults there as well.
Great.
Who could possibly come to Perry Street.
Yep.
And just, they are applying. But the principal's like, no, don't take. it."
Okay,
So.
we'll
this is-
front end and
they
back
are
door.
setting us up, right?
That grapevine matters.
That's
It's a very small city once you realize how small.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, you're going where? Hold on.
They'll be like, no,
Okay,
don't
I'm
bother.
gonna rescind that foundation. It ain't even gonna be, you burned the bridge with her. 3 years ago.
Exactly.
Okay, summer, okay, thank you.
okay, so as you know, we are working on the accreditation. So right now, we have almost completed the self-study. So we've been meeting on Wednesdays for an hour and a half. And we've just been going through the paperwork and just making sure that we're checking all boxes and making sure that everything is ready for phase 3. So right now, we will be connecting with board members who may be interested in supporting us in this in the phase that we're going to need you for. And then help us finalize like the resources in our school profile, and then just help develop objectives for improvement because that's super important. As you know, I'm always looking for ways for Perry Street to move forward in the right direction. So any advice, support, connections, all of those are always welcome.
Just a reminder, so the school has to be accredited. It is accredited right now by Middle States Commission. Every charter school has to be accredited and you have to redo it every 7 years. So we're at that point where we have to do the accreditation.
Can you go back a slide just for 1 second? Sorry. Just missed a bullet. Oh, okay, great.
Okay, so as I mentioned, we're in phase 2, which is exciting. So again, we're working with Jana Lee very closely to review the foundation documents, just digging into our mission, our values, the profile of a graduate. If it's are we keeping that the same? Are we changing it? And then making sure that we're developing the school profile and just reviewing the performance standards right now. So it is a lot of work, but it's really fun because it's giving me the opportunity specifically to learn more about the school, and you know, how far we've come. And so that's where we are right now. And in the summer,
Can I jump in?
yeah, of course.
And then for someone who was at the first accreditation, phase 1, we always joke with generally that's our true square person who's doing accreditation, that the meetings are painful. But guys, they're so important because we get so much feedback. So we send surveys to kids, we send surveys to staff about if they felt safe, if they like the school, what they would change. And so we're sitting in this meetings with all this feedback about like what teachers think needs to change about Perry Street. And the leadership team pretty much agrees with.
Yeah.
The teachers are in the meeting as well, so we could, like, 5 teachers are part of the accreditation team. So it's just constant feedback on how we can improve, evaluate mission and vision saving. And then looking at the school, period, like settle, like far back, just like figuring out what our summer work. So we know we're sure that this summer we have to work on professional development plan, not on the 10 square side, but on the Perry Street side, as teachers are saying, they want it for different professional development opportunities. So that's something we're gonna work on this summer. And then like safety, we're working on ID badges. So just proceed in that feedback and Because we have to, I'm ready on the paper.
Mhm.
A survey on it. Absolutely, okay. Alexandra, can 10 Square, and if this requires us to connect, that's fine. But can 10 Square think of an appropriate way to share out some of the data that you guys are seeing? And maybe
Yeah,
involve
absolutely.
the board and like, look, if it's a great opportunity for you to learn about the school, I imagine it is the same great opportunity for anyone in this room or on the phone.
Okay.
So not in an attempt to like dig our hands in and change mission statements, but just from awareness and perspective, I think there's probably some board members who'd be interested.
Oh,
in
yeah, we can put together
other
something
stages
clean,
of this
Yeah.
clean
process.
for you to review and see how far we've come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was one thing that comes to mind, they said, it was like, excellent, like teacher excellence or something like that.
Mhm.
All the teachers was like, what does that mean? Is that
Exactly.
data? Is that,
Yeah.
whatever, like, how are you gauging that? Is that, like, how are you gauging that?
Cause that's their performance.
Mhm.
Yeah, I wanna know too, how am I being graded?
Great conversation for everybody to kind of say, you know, all of us,
Yeah.
them shooting various
Yep.
ideas, and me as a parent, I'm like, well, do they pass the test? You
Mhm.
know?
Right,
But-
right.
Well, if you tell them in the meeting, we put a teacher back to the board, right? They were like, what does it mean to be an effective teacher? And I said, their data.
No, all the time, I was like,
I was like, yes, it is. So we went through the whole list of things that make me
Sure,
make
yeah.
my teacher make me, they were like, gosh, that's the whole thing. I'm like,
It's a good exercise to like unpack all the things though, data and otherwise. It is a good exercise to be on the same page about that.
And Aisha sits on all the meetings as part of the board representation, because this
Yeah,
requires that. And so
yeah,
Definitely
yeah.
share and create a. clean
Oh, yeah, we'll,
document,
yeah,
not
for
all-
sure, like some
Because
some
she
minutes
ends up
for
with
you.
Knowledge, but I
Yeah.
don't know if we meet
Yeah.
often enough, like it doesn't get back to
Yeah,
the board.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So we're moving on and upwards. So hopefully, you know, everything will run as smooth as it has been.
I might have asked this before, do we host summer school?
Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we do. I know. I don't know if you want to talk about that now or we can, okay. So, right now we were awarded the Summer Boost Grant. So I'm not sure if anybody knows what that is, but it's similar to the HIT grant where you just do intensive math and ELA tutoring. So the school had the option of taking the funds and doing a half-day program or a full-day program. So of course I chose a full-day program. So morning, so we did a schedule where morning is just kind of intensive enrichment where you're doing the ELA and math, and then they do also have the opportunity to continue our model of labs. So they'll be able to kind of like see what they're going to get into in the next school year, which is exposing them to they'll have an upper hand, if you would like to say that. And then the afternoon is enrichment. So we have a partner coming in who's just going to run STEM enrichment, arts. They're going to learn about DC and the culture. Obviously they'll be outside playing, but so they have a full day from 8 to 2:30 where they're doing that. And then every Friday is a field trip day to kind of like get them through, right? They'll have something to look forward to because every single day of math and ELA, I would be like, I'm not going.
Free for kids.
It's free for kids because of the grant. So we're able to provide them with the field trips, provide them with basically everything. They're gonna get free meals. Unfortunately, transportation was not a factor because that just would have been too much to kind of like navigate through since they come from all areas. But once they get here, everything is free. They're gonna get swag. They're gonna get there's gonna be contests for like who tries the hardest, and we'll have pre and post test data to share with you. So we're able to see their success. So we're running that, and that's for rising first through ninth graders, so which is cool. So it's like almost the entire school. And then the other camp, we're running a cubby camp for the little babies. So our pre-K babies, they can come. This year we had to charge just because we wanted to make sure it was in line with our budget. Last year everything was free and it was crazy. So we're just charging like a minimal amount, $100 a week. We were trying to stay in line with like, you know, the other programs that are running in DC. So we're doing like a cubby camp where they'll also have kind of like the same thing. They'll have their stations, they'll have their nap time. It's not going to be as ELA and math intensive for the babies, but they will be tired when they go home. So
This is it citywide or is this for Perry Street?
just for Perry Street only.
And is this opt-in? So do they apply for it or do you just make it as an available option?
It's actually both. So what we did as a leadership team is we sat and thought about, like, we went through the list of students who definitely would need it the most. And then we prioritized them and then we opened it up to the entire group and then we got a lot of interest. So 106, only 106 from grades 1 through rising 1 through 9, which is
How
hard.
many did we budget or plan for, not budget specifically?
106.
Okay.
I over enrolled.
Okay.
We'll eat that.
okay,
Because,
got it.
you know, there are some families who really wanted to be in it and they were like
Sure.
very persistent.
Uh-huh.
So, we just made sure every student who definitely needed it, but also all the students who, you know, were interested in it. Cause some kids like 8th graders, they don't want to go to camp. They want to go hang out and live their best life after
Summer.
graduation.
Right.
So we do have some 8th graders, which is cool. So, but it was open to every student after we kind of like prioritized
Okay.
our friends who
So we
needed it.
enrolled 106 and then how far the grant covered 106 and then how far did we go?
We did 112 is right now.
Okay.
Which is, I think we'll be able to kind of supplement with the Learn 24 funding.
Mhm.
Which is, they may show up, with, you know, because attendance, but I think they're gonna show up because it's free programming, which is not like, that's an anomaly for
Mhm.
around here. So free programming, my child's gonna learn, sign me up. So, we have to have 70% attendance every single day in order to get the grant. So the grant was $212,000 approximately. So we'll be able to cover those friends, cover the swag, cover the field trips. So I'm really excited about it. And it looks like it's gonna be a great program. So we'll see. I'll definitely report out.
Enrichment, or is there like a remedial aspect to it, or is it just kind of meeting people where they are?
So my friends at 10 Square are helping me with the curriculum. So basically what they're gonna do, the plan is to expose them to what they're gonna be learning in their grade, right? Because you're rising, so they're gonna expose them to what they're going to be learning if they're a rising first grader. So a kindergartner will be exposed to kind of like what first grade's gonna be about. And also the lab model will help for the students who need the kind of support. So each classroom has a teacher and an aide.
Enrichment
yeah,
and support
both,
depending
both.
on what the child needs.
Both.
Based on that end of the spectrum. Did anybody fly this year?
like-
Retention, grade retention.
Everybody actually stay in.
Let me ask you about some programs just real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
How long does it run? And
Yeah.
then you said the grant is contingent upon meeting the metric of 7%.
Correct.
Then are those funds given after the fact or do they?
So
Can they be tracked?
that's a perfect question. So, it runs June 30th to August 8th. I know the teachers that signed up are miserable because they have to come back on August 12th or 11th. So that's when it runs. It runs from 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And then we also offer like an aftercare, component where they'll be able to stay until 4, which we're covering, which is great. And then we also have our partner Hoop Ed, who is, offering to keep some of those friends who like need to stay till 6. So, and then the grant is 2 parts. So they're gonna give us, I believe it was 30% upfront, and then the rest of it was contingent on, in the enrollment. So the enrollment is tracked every day by, our teachers. So what I've done is I've assigned teacher leaders for each grade band. They're responsible for making sure that the teachers within their grade band are tracking the attendance, doing the pre and post test, making sure the kids are showing up. Let me call you. Why you're not here? So, that was, I was glad we were able to kind of take that money and do that because I know one of our teachers is like brand new this year. So I want them to have that mentor and that support. Yeah.
Breakfast and lunch.
Oh, no. So, we have that through Capital Area Food Bank. So so we went and called them because they used to offer food. We actually called them because they used to give us food for our resource room, the pantry, which is very decked out, by the way. Thanks to the AKAs, I'm sorry. So,
It's for kids.
sorry. It's okay. Those deltas are gonna show up, next year. But so we have the food through Capital Area where we called them about the pantry and we were like, what else do you offer? And they were like, you can apply for our free food. So they offer a supper every single day for our students now at no cost, which is catered meals from, I think it's Jeffrey's Catering. It is a little time consuming because you have to like be food handler certified and kind of serve it to the babies versus giving them the packaged, meals we used to do, but it's actually warm. It's good food. I've had it. They given meatloaf, jerk chicken. They give a variety of things. So they'll also be doing summer for us, breakfast and lunch.
Good friends, you know.
Really? Oh, hook us up. Tell them to hook us up this summer. Yeah, we do. We do. We do. Yeah, it's really great. So we also like in the staffing for the summer boost, I have kind of like one of our aides will go and kind of pivot to do the serving of those meals, but yes, it's gonna be great.
I just wanted, I still wanted them to pivot before I got to this. You had that good question out there, so I didn't mean to answer that, you know.
Oh, our students have great retention.
Yeah.
Retention.
So it's tricky because we start working with families early, like it would be the school year, we call parents to, oh, your attendance continues the way it is, we're gonna have to recommend these. We can't like automatically just retain kids.
Sure.
Parents think their kids go to the school and enroll in it. But we are working with some families that are on a summer boost to make sure they get to the next grade. It really is an attendance issue that we're focusing on, like if you can come to school a certain amount of times that we're recommending, but then put them on summer boost program. And so for actual retaining kids, the portion.
Yeah,
Like if they're not ready, then we're just trying to work with them.
yeah. So those are the students that we prioritize specifically. Like we have some 8th grade friends, who had some attendance struggles. But so they're in the roster as well. So we're gonna work with them to get them together.
We don't want to retain anyone, so we try to
No.
do everything we can to make sure that kids start from school on time. If you're working on time, let's start from you ready so that you can go to the next level. It's so many different data points to consider when you're thinking about retaining a child. For example, if a child doesn't come to school ever, but then they like it asks for no math, right? Like you're never this did you get that grade? Like, we're not gonna retain the child, right? Like they're sure
Yeah.
for standardized testing, but they have a position that kids go to the next grade. Like there's no need for us to give you that.
Right.
But if you have a student who, say for instance, is not on grade level and doesn't come to school, and this is going to then we start to have a conversation about what's appropriate on the side. Okay.
All righty, so for compliance and procurement, we don't have any new contracts as of yet right now. So we're working on our renewals for the next school year, which will be 10 Square, Ed Ops. Genuine Foods, right now, we're on our last round with them. So next year, we are not gonna be able to just renew with them. We're gonna have to go out for an RFP for them. But right now, leadership and I have met with them. They're actually like, they're taking care of business, stepping it up. Any like suggestions we have, they take. So and then we have our Busy Bee. We have Sterling Speech Services we're looking into for our OT and PT services, since we're not able to identify a speech and language pathologist. They're like, they're non-existent out here. And then right now for RFPs, we have to do one for IT. We have had a departure on our IT team. So right now, we are working hard to figure out what we're gonna do in terms of like replacement for next school year. Right now, we're working with a partner, DNS. They work with a lot of schools in the area, and I've only been working with them for like 2 weeks so far, and they are so on top of it. Other than today when the internet is down, but they're down there working on it now. We just have some access issues, and then for innovation learning, I know that we talked about this in previous meetings. This is for the after-school provider. Since we weren't able to put that in play for the last school year or this school year, we're actually gonna have to go ahead and renew it and do it for next school year. Because we are working on the childcare license, as you guys know. We are so close. We had a meeting yesterday. You heard, they're gonna come out on Thursday to do a final walkthrough, and then they're gonna see how many like rooms they'll be able to give us a license for capacity issues. But we are almost there, which is very exciting. Then we can bring innovation learning in, and they can handle our aftercare program and before care programming. So they'll work closely with the families to kind of register them, enroll them. And they are also going to be an on-site provider to be able to help families with their vouchers. So instead of having to go wherever you have to go in DC to apply for a voucher, we will be able to do it on site, which is really cool because that is a barrier for a lot of families. Yeah, it is, because I had a conversation with a mom about summer, how she couldn't afford it. And I'm like, are you eligible for a voucher? And she's like, yeah, I just want to go down there. It takes too much time. So right now we would have been able to like fix that problem. So as soon as we get childcare license, innovation learning will all be onboarded during the summer to start next school year, which is super exciting. And I will no longer be in the aftercare business. Innovation Learning will take care of it, and I'm excited about it. So for enrollment, as you can see, we have our current enrollment. We had 437 enrolled. We lost
36. Oh, this year.
this year, yeah, we lost a few friends along the way, but our target was 435. So our registration to date is 336, which is about 77%. And then students pending registration, we have 193. So what we're trying to do, we are really, really, really pushing families. Like, we want to make sure, because there's two parts to registration, right? There's the existing families and then there's the new families, right? They all complete the same paperwork, but it's a little bit more of a different strategy for each family, right? So right now, in terms of recruitment and enrollment, we are calling families, we are sending them reminders through Power School. We are, when they're at picking up or dropping off, Mr. Basie is like, hey, did you complete your enrollment? Did you do your DCRV? Here you go. Right. So we're getting those families, because I know it's hard, and I know some families aren't tech savvy, so they're not looking at their email. I've sat with a mom who I had to sign her in her email and show her where the email was. And so it's definitely strategic on our part. We have a re-enrollment challenge going, where we had our fourth graders win with 70%, which is like so exciting, because all you have to do is say, we're going to give you a gift card, or we're going to give you like a pizza party, and everybody starts like just gearing up. So that's exciting. We also held a grocery card raffle for families. So any of our families right now who are enrolling or not enrolling or looking at we can tell if they open up the paperwork, we can tell where they started. So we're pinging those families to try and get them to complete their paperwork. We've had a 7th versus 8th grade re-enrollment competition, because those are our friends that need like the ping the most. So we're working on different initiatives to try and get this enrollment together, but neatly and strategically, right? Because we want to make sure we have all of the paperwork we need, immunizations, all of that, because as I know now, having 1 year around the sun, I know that this paperwork now is going to save me a lot of headache in 3 months. So I think, or 6 months, or whenever, the time comes. So here's where we are for registrations, and we're working diligently. And I want to introduce our new family engagement and data manager, Ms. Montez. Ms. Montez has like just hit the ground running with her work. I really was excited, because this was part of one of my visions, to have a family engagement and data manager, because family engagement means something different to everybody, right? But to me, it means like hitting those families who have those reasons why they can't come to school. How can we help you? What can we do for you as a school to get you here? She's responsible for like the following, recruitment fairs and increasing our visibility. She's out on the streets, boots on the ground, putting those signs out, calling those families. Her and actually Miss Lopes, our social worker, walked around Union Market, and we got so many donations for Career Day. It was crazy. We got flowers from Trader Joe's, food from Trader Joe's. We got a gift card from Giant. We got just everybody that they hit on that strip donated some type of thing for the school, which is what I wanted. Like, that was what I wanted for family engagement, and that's how I wanted our recruitment to go. And then she's developing right now a strategy and vision for what this is going to look like for Perry Street to be centered on family partnership and equity and belonging. And she's definitely building momentum, sending out those updates every single day about attendance if a teacher hasn't done it. So she's working hard, and I'm hearing news of a PTA being developed, which is also super exciting. So she's working with Ms. Derricott really closely to get that started. And I know Tashandra is also going to help, because that was a part of her vision as well.
Yep, I'm
So
here.
I'm hoping
I'm
we
ready.
get her in if she's interested. But yeah, so this is our new Miss Montez. So if you see her, say hi. Two thumbs up over there, right? Like, actually, she came from KIPP. So she had a lot of knowledge about schools, which is what I needed. And yeah. I'm sorry.
You talk about faculty needs for next year.
What do you mean?
Particular grades that teachers may not come back.
Actually, we do have a couple of openings. We have some, I think we have what is it, a third grade that's filled. So yeah, Crouch can speak to the instructional positions fillings.
This thing,
They're all filled?
No.
Oh,
it's one sped.
One sped, and then we just have one, we're gonna be
Yellow.
concerned, our sixth grade math teacher is pregnant. So she'll be out for the beginning of the school year, so we're trying to figure out a plan for what that looks like, so the kids don't lose any instructions at the beginning of the school year. And then we have the ELL position as well.
Sped and EL are the only two real vacancies, like real vacancies right now.
Yeah.
What are the fake ones?
Like the pregnancy.
Oh, got it. Okay, okay.
fake ones.
No.
No, I get it now. That's a perfect, I would have said it the same way. Knowing what you're talking
I
about.
was looking at the notes for the last meeting, and I know we talked about AIDS, and we talked about maybe like the continuing resolution that's happening through DC.
Mhm.
And how we're taking AIDS back in some of the grade levels, so I wondered what now those classes will look like as far as like from a budget standpoint. Do we just have two teachers, or is it one teacher per class, and now we have more students per teacher because we don't have an aide in the classroom, or were they one-to-ones? I just saw the note, I didn't understand exactly how it affects the landscape of student to, teacher, like, is it now 35 students to one?
Oh, that's a good question.
Eight?
No, it definitely not 35 students. No.
There were a few things. So the aides still say pre-K through K still have aides in all their classes.
Right.
There are a few aides who will not continue because their children who are assigned to that aide don't continue at their.
Oh, so it was one-to-one, not
Yeah.
teacher aide.
Mhm.
Got it.
And so it's just redefining, like, if you're, Hassan is not coming back or graduating as an eighth grader, his aide cannot continue because they were assigned a one-to-one.
Got it.
But pre-K to K will continue having aides in the room,
Right.
and the self-contained classrooms continue having aides in the self-contained classrooms.
And that's another thing to know, we have three self-contained classrooms, and they are all, and they are rural. It is literally like some of the best instruction we have. And I don't wanna say we're shy when we go into self-contained, but self-contained across America is kind of like a dumping ground, we put all the kids in this aid. You're not teaching them to provide the kids, that's not how it is usually. If you are self-contained Perry Street, you are receiving maximum instruction of those teachers. That's another thing I want to talk about, is our teaching staff. We are, we're only looking for those two positions, but we are, I am 100% confident our teachers are the best teachers in our students. They made this clear for us, so just the classroom management, the instruction, the high level expectations they have for kids. We literally have like a really good school year. And it's so funny because people are like, the kids are so good this year. We've had big issues with the kids this year. I'm like, no, that's the teachers were so good this year, and that we didn't have issues with the kids this year. So I do want to highlight that because they're not, but the Perry Street has some best teachers in Washington. It's got good teachers, that Tinsper swears.
Rita is convinced.
Unbelievable too, we're saying.
Well, Rita is convinced about
Right.
it.
Our new teacher that we, just got on board, we're excited about them too, because they are skilled, they're talented, they're good at content, so we're looking forward to walking into next school year as a powerhouse, like, no, like, cracks, like, just strong, solid instruction in every class.
Excellent.
All righty, money for next year. So I know everybody has seen the news, read all of the things that are out. But we are, in terms of enrollment, we're gonna have a slight decrease in our enrollment just to be more conservative. So our budget target is 460, 431, yes. I don't know why that's so high.
That was last year.
Oh, yeah, last year, sorry. FY 25 was 460, I'm sorry. Our new target is 431, right? 435, sorry. But we are getting, so we're working hard on hitting that. And I think 435 is definitely attainable. And then in terms of the funding increases or decreases for Perry Street, for this fiscal year, we had a 2.74 increase in local funding. So that's good, right? That's good news. Nothing is happening in terms of budget, but for FY 27, there's going to be a decrease, so they say, of 3.81%, which it will be a large hit. So right now, Alexandra, can you just speak to kind of like the framing and how we're gonna work towards?
So, anybody who's been in DC the last 3 months knows that the budget cycle for DC is, not typical this year. The mayor released her budget very late, waiting to see what happened with the continuing resolution. As that is such an impact here on DC. And so the mayor's budget was released about 2 weeks ago. The anticipated impact on schools is a 2.74% increase in local funding. However, because DC is under the Congress has to show a balanced zero budget every year. And so in order for DC to do that, if the continuing resolution stays as it is right now, meaning that the district is only funded at FY24 levels, the proposal is a cut to school funding in FY27. There's a year of time before that happens. We have no idea what happens with the continuing resolution. The district has to submit a balanced budget, but I think a lot of people are looking at this and saying like, we ought to be cautious. We have no idea what's gonna happen in the next year. Let's focus on FY26 and then let's see what happens. Because this assumes the district continues to be funded at FY24 levels. I do not have a magic 8 ball,
Right, right.
Probably nothing. But
but
could.
it could,
It might not be the drop off we are anticipating.
it
Right.
might not be.
We're
And so
crossing our fingers.
I think there's a lot of, you know, they have to present a zero balance budget to
Sure.
Congress.
Absolutely.
And the district has to present a 5-year budget, so. Here we are.
Alrighty, okay, so for days of cash, so as you can see from the chart here, we had to revise how our cash is reported for FY25 per the new PCSB guidance. So if you look, it looks like in school year 22-23, we had 117 days of cash on hand, right? But it's now going to be reported as 483 because we now have to reflect our sinking fund dollars in our budget. This sinking fund will be paid out in May 2026. And it's a hefty amount of money, which is exciting, right? But so if you'll notice, like the difference in the financial days of cash is because of that. So we wanted to like just highlight that as well as a change. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so just so you know, the key budget drivers for our upcoming school year, as we mentioned, it's gonna increase 2.74%. We are gonna get a facilities increase of 3.1%, which is exciting because you know I love fixing facilities. Our enrollment, again, will be 435. Right now, the only known revenue sources that we're going to include for sure are the Learn 24 grant, which we're in year 3, I believe, of that cycle, and then Summer Boost. I'm gonna make sure that we are gonna continue to get all of those grants if it's within my power. And then all of our expenses are gonna align with the grant requirements as we kind of discussed a little bit earlier about Summer Boost. The DC educator pay is not included because we're still working on the revenue amount. But any additional revenue will definitely go to educator pay. For expenses, we have a 3% increase expense for unknown expenses, which is always gonna happen, like the elevator just doesn't, I need parts for it or something. The contracted straight cost input. So we're gonna scale our employees for a step increase this school year, and the non-scaled employees are gonna get a 3% increase. So like my operations team or anybody that doesn't have their own salary scale from Suzanne, so.
Key perspective, we're being very conservative and only including dollars that we know we have.
Yes. So we're hoping also to get, as you know, the SOAR facilities grant, we applied for it. So let's cross our fingers to get that so that we can get a new HVAC, new auditorium. It'll be
That is
great.
not in the budget.
Not in the budget, no, but we're crossing fingers. So maybe we'll have better news next time we meet.
As we think about like counting only money we have now, knowing we have other grants in the pipeline, I don't know, a year ago, you weren't here yet, so maybe longer. We had a conversation around like, when is a good time to start thinking about strategic development longer term? Understanding that like the budget outlook has shifted, understanding that the board composition has turned over a bit, like, is this a good time for us to take advantage of having maybe like a longer runway to develop a development strategy?
Yeah.
So that we aren't so dependent on, budget fluctuations that are looking perhaps more drastic than they did in previous years, or being able to offset, resource needs and leave that money in facilities instead, as opposed to laptops or whatever. And
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about like asking parents for dollars. I more meant like corporate partnerships
Yes.
and things like that.
That's a great question. So I work closely with Alexandra on making sure like she and I stay very, very on top of the budget, and I am very cheap. So I'm always looking for ways to cut things or ways that we were
Yeah.
kind of spending money where we weren't supposed to
Sure.
be more
Cut so
strategic.
much though, right?
Exactly, to be more strategic. So another good thing about Miss Montez, she's gonna be working closely with Miss Lopes next year on those types of things, as that's part of her job. So we're looking for those corporate partnerships. We're looking for those donors. We're looking for those friends who want to invest in Perry Street and be the face of it. And Mr. Banks actually is very helpful in sharing some of those partnerships and kind of like having us talk to people. We had a professional football player at our career day, or former NFL player, but so we're working very hard to find those corporate partnerships and those funders and those people who are actually just willing to like invest in us for the long term.
Sure.
It would be a great time to bring in the. board.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm like,
for sure.
it's a missed
Like,
opportunity that the
Yes.
board doesn't know about that. I
Yeah.
think like this room's I can just based on the people I know halfway well, it's very well networked.
Oh, for sure. Oh, I've
Um,
asked.
I mean, I just finished working for the Washington Spirit. Like y'all need athletes, we got athletes. Like, right?
But yes.
But I think that's a great opportunity for the board to not only contribute, but be of service.
So I've started, I've only connected with a couple of people because I wasn't sure of like how that
Sure.
works, but now that you've opened those doors, it's gonna,
be signed.
oh, it's
Everybody.
and when you send me those grant opportunities, I click on it right away and I'm like, oh, we don't qualify. Oh, we do. So, but yes,
Yes,
absolutely,
definitely.
for sure.
I think that's.
I think
a
that's-
good a good time. It's good timing. Like if the budget is under good solid, feasible management, then now's a good time to like start looking
I
at
think so.
your icing on the
Yeah.
cake.
For sure, yes.
thing.
I
And
think,
if we want to have Ms. Montez and whoever else
Mhm.
come present at one of the early meetings of the.
yes,
next
that is,
year,
I was just about to say that.
See?
So, should I be a Delta? No, so I'm just playing. I know. Okay. So, but yeah, so I definitely, that is one of our goals for the, what happened?
Okay, come on, y'all. No, I don't even graduate.
Okay, so yeah, so I definitely am going to work on that. You will hear from us, and it will definitely be a
Okay.
presentation and or an email to kind of like maybe make a committee or something, because they're already creating a committee
Yeah.
with the PTA, and then they're doing like baby committees. So yeah, we're working.
And
on
in
that.
the recruiting, yeah, let's do those. We'll
Okay,
pick the rest of
okay.
them.
All right, so
Jennifer's like, y'all are my attendance this year.
yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. So just for the key changes, so you're aware, we increased our contingency from 200 to 250K. So that's good. Uh-oh, the face, not the face. But also we, for subs, we shifted from contracting, like out to a line, and we're gonna do 2 in-house sub positions and try and manage it a little bit more strategically to see if we can save dollars there, because there's no way we can cancel out people calling out, but we can definitely manage how, it's kind of supported. Student uniforms, so we reduced that from 53,000 to 11,000 due to our current inventory that you walk by in our closet. So I think we're good there for families. And then as I mentioned about IT, we're gonna remove the in-house position to kind of try this out, which is 95,000, and then we're gonna shift to an outside vendor, which we're doing an RFP, but we're currently just getting some support from a DNS. It's a cost, which will be kind of cost neutral if you think about it. And then the computer and computer equipment increase to 75 to 150K, anticipating the additional needs. So right now, what I'm working on is trying to figure out like, all the staff laptops out of warranty, how long have you had them? Kind of just renewing them. And then as well as the Chromebooks, making sure that any Chromebooks that are old, out of warranty, out of date, don't work, that we're able to kind of replace them and replace them strategically versus kind of like, oh, you need a new laptop, here you go. No, it's like cyclical. And then out of school time, we reduced the cost to indicate the child care license that we're hopefully gonna get, so we can reduce the cost of Perry Street and be able to use like the Learn $24 for more like enrichment.
What does the sub number shift to?
Mm,
222.
That is, what is it,
In-house salary?
85?
90.
Yeah, because they're not gonna get,
1090.
Per person?
no, there'll be hourly staff.
Okay.
So it'll just be 2 people who will kind of come in. So they'll be our staff. So they'll be here every day.
But
Um,
they'll be reassigned.
They'll be reassigned. We're thinking per grade band, so it'll be like one person will be for grades pre-K to, 1 to 3, one will be 4 to 8, or however it may work, depending on the need of the day, but they'll always be here.
Are those, you talked about 2 openings, so is this a position that you are in the process of creating?
So one of those 8s, for example, is gonna be filling one of the in-house
Yeah.
positions.
Okay.
Yeah, so the positions are posted online, and they are like, people are applying and we're interviewing. So we have one filled, so we just have one vacancy right now that will definitely get filled before the school year.
And outside of that, they'll just do like special projects.
They'll help with operational projects. I always have a project. I always have a need. Well, why did you do that?
Sure.
I have a project all the time. They will never be sitting there, whether they may have to cover the main office, or they may have to help me clean out a closet or lift boxes, or I always have something. The school is huge, so.
A chance for OT, like if they stick around, the spirit team.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If they choose, well, yeah, of course.
Excuse me.
Okay, budget overview, just again, to give you like what a snapshot of it's looking. So for total revenue, 15,431,371. Sounds like a lot of money, but we could always use more. Again, we'll do 435 students. I think we will definitely hit that target. 13.8 of that is state and local funding. So about 90% of our budget, which is kind of scary to hear, but 1.1 is in federal funding, so like our title dollars and our IDEA dollars. And then for expenses, as you can see, we're spending most of that we have 83 staff, and this building is 200,000 square feet, so there's always something that needs to be fixed. And then the largest expenses, as you can see, are the salaries with benefits. And then the direct student expenses go about 2 million, which is about 14%. So that's just like an overview of like the snapshot of how we're spending. We will be spending the dollars for this upcoming school year.
And for folks wondering what that earned fees is, that is the rent payments from from Sojourner and St. Jerome's.
And we haven't included our new rent from Genuine Foods.
So to your point, Sydney, like there's almost all local dollars, and very limited federal funding.
Also,
Is there a list of capital projects?
no, I'm glad you asked. I love that word. I am actually in the process in my summer work I'll be developing capital projects. Cause again, I'm still learning the building, and this year was a kind of like put the fires out as they come along. But now, because since I've been here, I'm able to kind of think more strategically to develop capital projects, to be able to kind of go to Alexandra and work with her for that budget. I will say that we are trying in terms of like revenue and trying to find other ways to increase our revenue. What I've been doing is trying to like outsource our dance studio and our multi-purpose room to be able to have people rent it. Like if you want to have your baby shower here, or you want to have your 80th birthday party here, like you'll be able to rent our space. Obviously, it's not going to be like big money, but it is going to be some type of revenue for the school, so we're able to use it for whatever it is that we can. So I'm working on that. That will be part of capital projects. Because the auditorium is really big. Like we could have graduations here. It could be crazy. So. All right. And then this is just, again, an overview of what our draft budget is, what Alexandra and I have been working very hard on, to make sure that it matches and it's gonna work out for us. We're gonna, if you can see a change in the facilities projects, we're gonna pay them out of the sinking fund here. So the 12 million that's there, we're gonna pay out of this lovely sinking fund. And then for the net cash increase, we have some dollars that are also going to come out of our sinking fund. So whoever set that sinking fund up was definitely in the best interest of Perry Street, because it's it's definitely working in our favor.
Yeah, so a few things, net income here is positive, so we are projecting to have positive net income, which is super important, because that means expenses are not exceeding revenues. As Portia said, this $12 million is gonna go out the door. This is in that account, this is restricted cash, which is why you see here, this drop from this 523 to this 222. And that is because that money goes out the door into that sinking fund. We actually have more money in that sinking fund right now than is due to the bank. because that money gets invested.
Mhm.
And so Parachute will actually be able to get those extra funds.
Mhm.
We have not included that in the budget because we are being conservative. And, you know, anything could happen with the markets
Mhm.
between now and May. But assuming things don't blow up, there will actually be more cash coming back to Parish Street. So overall, this is what the budget would look like. We do have to submit a 3-year budget to the charter board. We did include a negative 3.81% revenue decrease here, which is why you see this revenue here declining. But we increased enrollment to continue a net income positive. I would say generally, this is display purpose only and not real, because we really don't think that 3.81 will happen. But even if it does, like Perry Street is in an incredibly envious position. Because it could sustain it. Most schools are not in this position. Without making really massive cuts across the board, Perry Street still has a positive net income for next year. And has been really fiscally in a strong position. And that sinking fund will only frankly help, and that is not even included in this cash position.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know if the finance committee would want to add anything, because we went into this with them. Helpful. I think what we would ask is for the board to consider, because we do need to submit an approved budget to the charter board, so we would certainly, if there's any other discussion, but we would welcome a motion to approve the budget.
Can I introduce a motion to approve the FY 26 draft budget?
A second.
All in favor? Sorry. Any opposed? Okay, I think we're good, Alexandra. Thank you.
Okay, so we will submit this to PCSB, and again, we have to submit a 3-year budget, but the only thing we're gonna be held accountable for is 25-26, so that is, and then if there are any changes, we'll certainly let the committee know. But right now, Perry Street has definitely a positive cash position, unlike a lot of other schools, and so certainly in a good place.
Yep, I can cover governance. First, I guess it was last week, there was a handful of us on a different call. It's recruiting season, as is every summer, so as we think about our numbers are dwindling, there are some of us who are reaching that like last 2 years of tenure. I'm looking right at you, because if I'm here, you're still here, you're running out of time. So we definitely want to start tapping our networks, thinking of people who would make a great fit for kind of where we have now heard Perry Street is headed. I've spoken to some people in my network who are either in education, formerly were, or are just, like all around would make a great fit for the culture and the organization here. As you heard, keeping in mind things like wanting to look at outside funding opportunities, wanting to raise the brand visibility from an enrollment perspective, understanding that trickles down to enrollment and retention year over year. But it is time. So I will send an email that has a link to the application process to everyone for you to share with your networks as you think of people who might make a great fit, or you just, are looking for service opportunities. I don't need to sell you guys on what the opportunity is. It is what it is. We sit in here every other month and experience it. And so the thing I have written up in email kind of helps articulate that for anyone who's new. So I recommend sending that with the link so they can read about themselves. Rachel was nice enough to update her profile photo on LinkedIn so that when people go internet stalk her, the leader of the school.
Yeah.
No, that was purely coincidental, but I did notice it right as I started like telling people to go look at her profile. So good timing. Other governance things, I am going to be asking for a new official governance chair. So I'll give anyone in the room or on the phone a chance to raise their hand and let me know via email. No pressure to do it right now. But I think an incoming governance chair could also help steward some of these needs forward. But recruiting is our primary focus over the next 3 months. Ideally, we're coming into the next school year with a crop of new folks. And we do need to keep an eye on our DC residency numbers when we do that. And then our goal is to grow our overall net number of members as well. I mean, I know what number I like, but I think the max is 15. The max is 15. We haven't been up there in a long time, maybe ever. I don't think we ever have. I think I made like 11 when I came in. That felt good. I mean, like, I know what I like, but that's purely anecdotal and unofficial. It's a gut instinct. We have never had a problem getting things done at the big number or the small-ish number where we are now. I don't think like the larger number made decisions more complicated or there was, you know, any more like contention across votes or anything. I've never experienced that. Thank you.
Can I jump in really quick?
Of course.
I will say this year, we felt so supported by the program. I mean, when I saw the board members at the Wiz on Saturday, I'm like, oh my God, it's like the kids are so excited to see us. So it was like the support. I just have no words. Like yesterday, the teachers were coming to me like, there's no board member in portions on. I was here all day. I don't see that. Word isn't like that. We have a supportive board. Like, you are here when we need you. You're here when we don't need you. You're here. You are here upstairs, downstairs, in the office, like just giving us feedback all the time and just being supportive and just being right where we need you all the time. All the accreditation meetings, like everyone knows who you are. Everyone feels your presence in the school. And when you're here, everyone's like,
Yep.
There's a board in the building. And like just being able to tell people like, oh no, our board they're so supportive, like they're literally here for us to like let them know they don't have to be afraid. It just feels good to me to know that I have a board, we have a board
Yeah.
that is so supportive and we know you all are here for us or whatever. So thank you so much. You literally like love to that.
I just come like.
Yeah, girl, you got stuff to say. You gonna
Right. She got the inside scoop.
I joke, but I will say, I do think we should work on formalizing that. Like, that's exactly what she's doing exactly what we asked her, especially as a parent, to do. But if it's not making it back to the board, then we have work to do on communication. So yeah, we should maybe think of ways to formalize that in these meetings.
I also want to second Rachel's appreciation for everybody here, but also she is always, you know, here and supportive and checking on me, and she's willing to help if she's like in here doing a meeting or doing something. So I appreciate that. And I really do like, no, it's actually like everybody from the, no, it's definitely no eggshells, But yesterday when I came from meeting and I went in my office and she was sitting there, I was like, oh, it's all dirty in here. I'm like cleaning up and I'm like, it's just, you know, it's just a little cleanup. But I appreciate actually everybody from the emails that I get about the grants, from the support that I get, the advice. I do appreciate it. So I just wanted to say thank you for supporting my first year around the Perry Street Sun.
One last thing.
Mhm.
You just said this is your first year of Preparatory. I know we are like equals,
Mhm.
but I would like to give you feedback from the board. I think you've done an excellent job. You got here right away, just hit the ground running. I would run downstairs to talk to a parent. They're like, Portia's got it. I'm like, oh, let me look. You literally have like taken this on and have worked so hard this school year for us. And we see it, like we feel it, like you are such a great addition to your tree. This looks like an A+ year for you. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right.
I know
Any
we wanna
questions?
congratulate
Yeah,
you,
because I gotta go set it up.
I do want to recognize Rachel. You funny. Rachel is also hitting her 10 years.
Mhm.
Rachel is old in Perry Street, as they say. But as we all know, it has been nothing short of a turnaround opportunity at times. We don't like to use that language, and it hasn't felt like that in many years. And that is largely due to Rachel and the leader she has had with her along the way. So your hard work and your dedication, 10 years of dedication, does not go unnoticed. We are so grateful for your leadership. So excited for you to stay another 10 plus. But yeah, take a break and stop and celebrate that. That is major in any organization, in leadership or not. Nobody stays anywhere for 10 years. So thank you so much.
I didn't know about myself. I also would just like to shout out to Spur really quick.
Mhm.
This last week,
Right.
and us on the ground, running, like this, that feedback. That that's important.
Yes.
Especially as a school leader, just having someone to always, even when I need to stay back in the clinical, I was saying, that's been sick. It's like just knowing that support have from 10 Square, or like, I feel like I put to the shot because everyone support. No matter what we live, like, I feel like the board also, the 10 Square always are able to support our jobs. Everything's like here.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. That is
And
not.
square.
Everyone, that. I know, cheers.
Okay.
I think we're good, folks.
You need a motion.
Yep, I will say, do I have a motion on the floor to adjourn today's meeting and get to graduation?
It's not part of the hour.
Well, still.
Yeah, we gotta prepare. I'm free. I gotta go on and set up.
I would like to have a board retreat. I would like to send out dates. Sometimes Alexandra tells me it's too hard to do in the summer, but I'm like, it's June. Maybe we can get it done right before school starts in August. But yes, I will try to find some dates. I'm one of the guilty ones with a very busy summer, so we'll look at August though.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah, I'm like, can we not have a second?
Sorry, I just.
No, yeah, we don't want to lose track of the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.